and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. A record day today, a quick start out. This pack though moving out pretty much together from those race pen starts. All 6 race categories starting in separate pens, and that separates the riders out. You can see.
Congratulations to the new elite road race Philippines gold medal national champion Kim Bonilla. What a young rider, and what a star for the future.
It's tight here, but we're getting riders starting to go clear. Anna's fast on, big kick here. Alexi, Stova and Takanos all driving off the front of the big group. They all came in together. This will come down not only to where the riders finish at the end of the signal. Amelia Velt here has exploded out of the race pack. She clearly is looking to take away the prizes here, but she's up against Spring Queen herself, Bridget Valensky, who is absolutely smashing those pedals round. She's going to come up on the shoulder and over the top. Velt went hard, but my goodness, Bridget Valensky.
On the left-hand side of your screen, Musa Al-Mansouri, Category 6 rider, put in the time on the Cortakia over Ferron and Quap, and now you can see she's really motoring in Category 6. Back in with the Category 3 race now. They too are on the Eichenberg climb, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is that 5 or 6 riders here? Musa Al-Mansouri, she looks up, she sees the UCI banner. It's qualifier 1 for March 2025. And Musa Al-Mansouri takes the win in Category 6.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم.
وبداية قوية مع إنجي كوب. نعم، بداية قوية. هذه البداية من إنجي كوب كانت متواجدة في الأسبوع الماضي إنجي في الفئة الخامسة. هنا المنافسة قوية نشاهدها على القميص الأخضر في السبرنت الأول. تنطلق بكل قوة المتسابقة ليدي، وإنجي أيضا كريستينا تنطلق بقوة وفوق 600 واط. وهنا موزة المنصوري. نعم، موزة المنصوري تتقدم في هذا المكان 9 كيلومترات و500 متر. الآن هي في نهاية الصعود. برافو يا موزة، موزة جيدة في الصعود، توسع الفارق إلى 27 ثانية بين أقرب المنافسين لها. صوفي جيفوني الآن بواط 250. وزون الخامس والسادس. التقدم الآن لأسويد وإيطاليا. يوهانا كالمان تأخذ مكان وتتقدم السرعة عالية تفرضها في الأمام كورنيليا السويدية. صوفي جيفوني. الأسماء الكبيرة تتقدم الآن. كاترين فوهرير تظهر بالنقل الحي المباشر. هذه المتسابقة التي كانت متأهلة لبطولة العالم والتي كانت مرشحة للفوز ببطولة العالم، اكتفت بالمركز الثالث لبطولة العالم. انقضاض كما قلنا، نعم بالفعل. تنطلق الآن في الأمام وتنطلق معها جابرييلا جويرا في نهاية الصعود. ميري كيتي جابرييلا جويرا تنطلق خلفهم ميريل براوني وكاترين فوهرير. جابرييلا الآن تنطلق، تبتعد عن ميري كيتي ب3 أمتار تقريبا. نهاية الصعود بعد 500 متر. تدخل بكل هدوء. طبعا موزة المنصوري فائزة بسباق اليوم، فائزة أيضا بالقميص المنقط. الآن تحتفل بالفوز أيضا بالقميص الأصفر، وموزة المنصوري المركز الأول.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 2 for March, and I want to say, of course, hope that if you are celebrating Ramadan, that it's going well for you and you're having a great time, and everything is going to plan. Going to plan. It's not always the case, though, for our riders or for those of us behind the scenes. Personally, I'm feeling very sore late after having a very busy week on the bike. Emma, you've had a busy week as well, and between us, we've managed to prep for this course because this is the same but different.
It is the same but different. The women's race, Sunday Race Club, qualifier 2 in March, is indeed in Alula. 37.2 kilometres of racing, 515 metres of climbing. The course, well, there are 3 sprint segments along the way, each at 200 metres. Then there are 2 climbing segments, and the 2 main climbs are not the only climbs of the day. The Vessel Rock climb at 4.5 kilometres, average gradient 2.3%. Do not let that lull you into a false sense of security. It goes up, it's flat, it goes up, it goes down. Multiple changes of terrain on the Vessel Rock climb. Then they drop through the Face Rock sprint up and on to the next section of climbing before they go down the Alula Desert sprint, through the rollers, and on to the Alula Desert climb, the final climb of the day. 2.3 kilometres in length, an average gradient of 4.9%, and the checkered flag is at the top, signifying the finish. Now, coming out of the start pens, it's a cracking start today. They come out, it's pan flat, and then they go into the oopsie whoopsies.
Oopsie whoopsies, that's a great word for them, also known as the roller coaster sections of the course out here in Alula. Now, let's run you through our riders. We've got 30 or so riders, I think, in Category 6. I'm just going to run you through the runners and races. Our teams, though, Kitty Hawk Racing, represented by Jessica Hamilton, Level Chinko by Arona May Joy Mayer, and Level Phoenix. That's Alicia Radso, Daniela Lodono, Lisa Hopkins, and Rachel Hooker. Hopkins, of course, the rider who is helping to stitch together the Wednesdays racing. So great racing there. Do get involved and jump on board if you fancy jumping on, having a midweek race and you're one of our women competitors. Great race field here and some really strong names now in Category 6.
Yeah, top three from last week, all progressing. Two of them to Category 5, one of them to Category 4. That leaves Jessica Hamilton, who took third place in Belgium, but she really is a sprint specialist, also taking the sprint category. Also, Finucci Corn Sarasu, fourth place she took last week. Adriana Barco took fifth. Angie Solazano took the climbing competition and finished strongly in that top 10. So was Flores, Driscoll, Kirchner and Holtman all had good rides as well. It's going to be really interesting. Rona May Joy Mayer comes down from Category 5 into Category 6 this week.
So as you can see, our Category 6 riders just leaving the pens, hitting the course proper and heading out 200 metres underneath their wheels here in Category 6. We're just in with Jasper Nicole Illustri. Now, if you are new to the Sunday Race Club, it's essentially a scratch race. So basically, this is about getting from the start to the finish, and the first over the finishing line wins the race. Really simple format. Along the way, though, we do have supplemental competitions as well. Those are our climbing competitions, and on that course profile, they were represented by the red sections, 2 climbs. Each of those climbs garner points. The rider with the most points in that climbs competition will be the rider winning the competition overall, and they are represented in the screens with the polka dot skin suit. Climb arches, starts and finish arches, well, they are polka dot as well. The green competition is for sprints, as you regularly would see in a Grand Tour or similar. 3 sprints along the way. Again, points on the way through. There are prizes for the segments and for the overall in both the sprint and in the climb. Sprints in green arches, polka dots in the climb competition, and that is across each category as well. So every category contests the overall race, every category contests the climbing competition, and every category contests the sprint competition as well.
And they are all self-contained within each of the 6 categories. Category 6, the first riders out of the start pen today. We get in with Rona Tanglian there. You can see the curtains blowing in the breeze. Dark outside where Tanglian is at the moment, and that's an interesting factor because, of course, all of our riders, different time zones around the world.
They are indeed, and we literally say around the globe. We do mean that. You know, if you were to put them on a pin on a globe and spin the globe around, there's only the bits of ocean really that doesn't have representation one way or another. Lots of riders, of course, racing in different countries from maybe where they're from originally. Lots of people working abroad, of course, and living abroad in different countries, and that does change, of course. Maybe where they're living relative to their flag. For example, you might have been a British citizen like myself originally, but you might be working in the UAE or you might be working in New Zealand, and of course that then changes the time zone as well. So we can't always rely on those flags that are representative of each rider's national flag to tell us exactly where they are, and that's where that window in on our riders is key. Now, with all our riders up and away, other point we should really make is that when all the riders are on the race route, all of the avatars can draft each other. There is no
Yes.
exclusion between categories 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and
And
1.
how you know whether the drafting is taking place, take a look. Adriana Barco on our screen. Her numbers at the moment just shifted to green, indicating she's in the draft. So the what numbers on the top of the screen, Barco's numbers are green. They're in the draft. When the numbers turn to white, well, that means she's out in the wind.
Indeed, and that is a real key skill when it comes to racing on esports. When you're racing on MyWhoosh, being able to hide in the draft, to hide out of the way. We've all, I'm sure, done it at some point on the bike, and if not on the bike, we all know the effect of the wind blowing in our face.
Energy
in the car.
conservation key.
It is. Now, we have 5 minutes between each of our race starts, apart from one race start, and we'll come to that a little bit later. Let's move from category 6 to category 5. So the first step up the ladder. Now, no teams represented here today. A similar race field size to Category 6 this week on the second of our 4 qualifiers. Remember, there are 4 qualifiers this month, with the final being at the end of the month. And Category 5, well, this is the first category, of course, where riders can come up and drop down into it as well.
Yes, 26 riders on the start sheets today. As I mentioned, Ferron and Quapp have come up. Angelina Roja has come down from Category 4 into Category 5 today. Lopez is here, who took a 3rd place. Katie Bago took a 2nd last week. Mongeli took a 4th. They are all here. Al-Mansouri and Hjalmarsson have gone up into Category 4. But there are some great riders on this start sheets today.
So it's time for our Category 5 riders to leave the pen. Category 6 leaving in the purple jerseys first. And the Category 5 riders leave the pen. You can see those light blue jerseys weaving their way through the area there, through that race. So all our riders starting at the same point on the road, all the riders covering the same distance, the same elevation gain as well. This is a particularly hilly route for a relatively short route. Now, Emma, we've seen a quick start here from Category 5 already, but this is going to be, you use those words, energy conservation, when you were just speaking about Category 6. That's really, really important across all race categories. And getting a fast start, although it does mean you're in the draft, isn't always the key to being in position at the right time a little bit later on.
No, the start on this course here in Alula, actually, I think is really important, because it's not very far out the start pen where you actually hit those rollers. You need to be positioned well, but you don't want to be at the front of the group. Palma Mongeli on our screen at the moment, nicely positioned. She's taking the draft. The Watts are in green, great position in the pack. Geraldo, Bago, Tijeros, Arrayas, all in front of her. She's nicely tucked in, and you can see the look of concentration on her face at the moment. Great positioning from Mongeli, and really showing you how to come out of the pen, not shooting over the top of the rest of the competitors and jumping into the wind, but settling into the pack in a nice position. One of the things to say, nice to have Nikki Lloyd back after her escapades and travels to Australia. She is now back. She joined me on the live coaching this week, a little jet lagged.
I'm not surprised that she's a little bit jet lagged on the way through, because she's been out and around all over the place and visiting people who she races with on the Sunday Race Club. And that's one of the great
Nikki
things.
Lloyd and Bridget Bremner in person.
Yeah, it's one of the great things, isn't it? There's so many people keeping in touch in reality, rather than just virtually through the racing as well. Lots of conversation on Discord, on Instagram, on Facebook as well. And lots of the riders are very, very experienced riders and new riders alike, sharing their experiences. One of our experienced riders here, Karolina Chizikowicz, a rider who I remember jumping on to an event that we organised, Emma and myself, a little while ago, now be a few years ago, when we first saw Karolina Chizikowicz jumping on, and great to see her out and racing once again. And if I remember correctly, now Chizikowicz, Polish rider, but actually resident in the UK. If I remember correctly.
Well, there you go. What a memory. Well, Chizikowicz on our screen at the moment, nicely tucked into the pack. In fact, she's actually right to the front of the pack, but it's a steady pace at the moment. So Chizikowicz, Quapp, Tejeros, Alzat, Jones, all in that leading group. And you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen the profile that is about to hit the riders. I called them the Oopsie Whoopsies. Well, it's a series of rollers. That's what it is. And they are going to be the first main feature on this course here in Alula to test our riders today.
So the riders ascend the first of these sawtooth profiled sections, going up over the top and then dropping back down the other side. The first one only 4.5%, 5% on the way up and down, much smaller than what is to come though. And you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the radar view, you can see each of those light blue discs represents a person. They're piled on top of each other in the center because that is the group that we are seeing on our screens at the moment. But you can see behind, there's at least one, if not two riders distance from this group at this stage. And that's only going to be exaggerated once we make our way in a little bit further through.
Yeah, and for me, this course here in Alula is quite an attritional course, I think is the word I would use. Particularly in the early stages, we're more than likely to see riders go out the back of the pack than go off the front.
Well, it's time to see if Category 4 are going to do the same. We're heading in towards their race start. The La Rosa Blanca squad are here, Anya Kinsella and Holly Bergin. Bergin, of course, one of the coaches on the MyWhoosh live coaching sessions. Gina DeGrazia and Tanya Howeiler also on here. Gina DeGrazia with a podium this week I think it was a midnight podium, in fact, if I remember correctly, in what was on the Al Ain circuit, the closed road circuit just below the Yebel Hafit area. Fantastic riding by her and all of the riders. And Angel Hadlock actually on that podium with the race win. Great racing, great riding. Let's see what the riders do here today. Category 4 in the red jerseys. The next riders to leave our race start. And Emma, our Category 4 riders, it's a busy race field with riders moving up and down. Almost, is this our busiest field for movement and transfers from category to category?
Well, I think I would probably say yes today. We've got 30 riders on the start sheets today in Category 4. Ain Kinsella has come down from Category 3. So has Hannah Goodall and Kristen Hamilton. Maria Halmalson, Musa Al-Mansouri have come up into this category. So a little bit of movement around. Gina Van Rossum, good to have her back. I'm going to take a look and see if she's actually made the start line today. Hopefully she has and is part and parcel of the pack here in Category 4. She's told me she is returning to racing. Holly Bergin, fabulous race from her last week in Belgium. Hadlock, well, they did go neck and neck for a very long time until Bergin put that big dig in. Bergin took second, Hadlock took third, Barragan took fourth, and Randy Gino, great fifth place for her as well last week in Belgium. Very different course today. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in Category 4, but I think it will be very competitive.
I'm really interested to see how Musa Al-Mansouri does here today, taking away that win as we saw in the rewinds, moving up into Category 4. Fantastic rider. And that movement, that transition up, always really interesting. How riders deal with the increased pace, with the different styles of riding. And if you haven't watched last week's women's race, do have a watch back sometime in the coming week. It was absolutely fantastic. It was great watching it back. 2 races today in the Sunday Race Club. Our women's race setting off first. 1 hour later, we have the men's race setting off in the relevant categories. Now, a quick reminder, it does mean that we're starting off with Emma and myself, Matt Payne, here in the studio. We're actually in the Orchard studio today, and we are going to be bringing the start of the women's race. Emma gets to stay out in the Orchard whilst I go into the old farmhouse studios, and when I go to the old farmhouse studios, I'll be starting the men's race, and then Emma will be joining me afterwards. So don't forget, make sure once you finish watching the women's race, either go back to the start of the men's or you can jump in live. Emma will be joining me partway through there. 2 races today for Sunday Race Club, 6 categories in each of our races, equal prize money between the men's and the women's races as standard on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Our Category 4, Category 5 and Category 6 riders, the first 3 race categories, up and away from race start. And remember, the easy way to identify our riders, the category that they're in, that's the colour of jersey they're wearing, unless they are leading in the mountain or in the sprints competition, in which case they would exchange those jerseys for skin suits, polka dot or green, whether it's climbing or for the sprints, but they always retain the number of the category that they're in on the back of those skin suits.
Well, they do. And as we're watching Category 4 at the moment, we drop in with Tanya Holweiler. She's part and parcel of the pack, nicely positioned as she goes into the roller section at the 2-kilometre marker. The Category 4 pack just stretching slightly. They're on a roll descent at the moment before they go into one of the longer climbing sections. Now, I said this was quite an attritional part of the course, and I can tell you the Category 6 riders are now through this section and through the first sprint of the day, and 8 riders in that leading pack out of the 30 riders who came out of the start pen in Category 6. Is the section going to do as much damage to the Category 4 group? I'm not sure it is. There's some really strong riders in here today. Holweiler, Taylor, Hamilton, Kinsella, really, really strong.
Very strong, and into that roller coaster section. We'll see what that does when we come back to them. It's time for us to head, though, into our Category 3 race start. The Category 3 race start, it sets off 5 minutes behind Category 4. It's 10 minutes in front of Category 2, so a little bit of a bigger time gap behind these riders. 2 teams represented here today by Helen McKay, the team captain for Recoba Collective. The Golden Light team, well, Team Golden Light, it is Golden Light from the UAE representing them and captaining them. But another well-sized race field with some real climbing superstars in here. People like Stefani Piccolo, I notice, in Category 3, a rider who you could never discount on a good-sized climb, and there's some steep climbs today. We're going to get the riders underway, and then we're going to run through the race field in a little bit more depth. Stephanie Briggs, the rider that we are in with today. Time for Stephanie to show us whether she's ready for today's climbing. A little bit less than we've seen on some, but I still think this is a tough climbing day. 515 metres of climbing across the 37K. Piccolo, one of your picks for the climbs, Emma?
Yeah, Piccolo is strong, actually, and it's going to be really interesting to see how she does on this course. We're in with Lee-Sophie Ramett, and I tell you something, she's one of the riders who this course could really suit today. We've seen her climb really, really strongly through January and February. But Briggs is good. Ramett on our screen at the moment. We can see her. Gothlander has come up really strongly since she joined the Sunday Race Club. She took 3rd place here in Belgium last week. Jenny Daniels took 5th. Lennonen's come up from Category 4, but let's not forget Lytton, Nielsen, Osterby, Walkenhurst, Montgomery, McLeod. I would also say Roach, Briggs, all part and parcel of the top 10 last week, all riding really strongly. Just to note, Anna Embring, Dana Davidson and Sarah Lundin have all progressed to Category 2.
And Lee-Sophie Ramett, I mean, your point about her, this could be a course to suit her.
Yeah.
I think it's one of, I know we're only just into 2025, but it's one of my real memories, I think, over the last 12 months of Sunday Race Club, is seeing the transition for Lee-Sophie Ramett to go from sprint domination to switching her emphasis on the Belgian courses to the climbing and the overall, and how that paid off for her. That transition, I thought, really, really indicative of a rider who's going places really, really good to see. And I thought really nice to see that progression and that change, that real tactical thought.
Well,
and that's something that we see with Rebecca Johnson as well, somebody who's addressed what she wants to do, where she wants to race to those strengths, and really, again, Johnson, an absolute class performer.
Yeah, Johnson really good, and climbing is one of her really, really strong points. So she likes to settle into a rhythm and settle into a climb. And when we see the really long climbs, they really do suit her. I mean, the transitional climbs over the Vessel Rock may well go down really strongly for her. And then we finish on the Alula Desert climb as well today. But my question for... Rebecca Johnson has moved up into Category 3 last week, and I don't think the climbs are long enough for her today in this category. But I do think Ramett could go really, really well.
Well, we'll have to wait to find out. We're just going to take a little bit of a look at how our Category 4 riders are faring on the Sawtooth section. So if you cast your mind back to the course profile, the first section before we get to our first sprint, which is at 6.5 kilometres, it had those Sawtooth profiles sticking up, and each of those, that deceleration as you hit the climb, the acceleration over the top and into the dip, really does break the group apart. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen, that radar view really showing that the group is starting to split. There are riders being distanced off the back, and those gaps are opening. You've got to be in contention. It's very difficult to come back on the Sunday Race Club if you've been distanced. Now, Kath Tomkinson already nicely tucked in to this leading group. She's keeping the pressure on here and is setting the pace. We've seen her here just sitting on the front as she rolled in, now puts the power down, sitting with this leading group, really looking smooth. Look at the red chevrons on the right-hand side of your screen. Those red chevrons kick it in when the riders go in that red zone. You can see it light up. That board is lit up from top to bottom in red, and at the moment, the riders in red, there are Category 4 riders on this climb. Emma Tomkinson, no surprises to see her near the front here.
No, not at all. You know, she's getting stronger and stronger, and it's fabulous to watch her progression and how she's really taking the Sunday Race Club by the scruff of the neck. And Holly Bergin pushing on strongly at the moment. Perhaps, well, I would say too early for an attack, and she sits up and comes back into the group. And it's really tricky when you're feeling strong and you're feeling good. I mean, she took second place in Belgium last week against Angel Hadlock, who took third. So two strong riders, obviously really on good form. But when you are on good form, actually it's quite hard to measure your pace on these short, sharp climbs and modulate it to stay in the group. And you really don't want your nose in the wind at the moment.
You don't. And one of the things these riders are going to be used to, this traditionally, this has been used as a finish previously. I think it's the Tel Marib course, if I remember correctly. We go up and over, or is it Heritage Climb course? In fact, and we finish here. We go through the same roller coaster, this Sawtooth profile. And this is normally our race finish. This is right at the start of the race now. And because of that, it really does have a different feel to it. I think people are more aggressive in general on that section. Now, let's go from Category 4 in the red across to Category 3 in the blue. We're in with Brittany Litton at the moment. Litton with a very busy race weekend. In action here and out of the saddle on the front of this group. I'll tell you something, she's taking the racing to the rest of the riders, and she's doing damage behind because the riders are fighting for the wheels. There's a number of riders in danger of being detached.
Look at the pace, look at the push from Litton at the moment on the front here. McKay, Gosselander, Johnson, Ramett, the riders we would expect to be here, Piccolo, all in the mix. Stephanie Briggs there too. And look at the size and the swell of the group. I mean, Litton was absolutely pushing the numbers there. And the group wide across the road. Now, this is interesting because we're going to get an indication as to how many riders are now in this leading group here in Category 4, because you can see on the bottom left-hand screen, it has been shot to smithereens through that rolling section.
So the sprint section not only awards our riders with a prize for being the fastest through the sprint section, but it also gives us a good indication of how many are in the group as these results roll in. So Category 4 at the moment, Emma, that leading group just coming smashing in through there. Most of those riders in that lead group are now through that sprint segment. Did you manage to catch how many riders in the leading group?
Well, 10 riders in the leading group at the moment. Collins, Bergin, Ellos in there, Gino's in there, Hadlock's in there, Bonilla's in there, Holweiler's in there as well. So some really strong riders. Select group already formed through that rolling section.
So we have already got Category 6. They've gone through. Category 5 and Category 4 going through our first sprint. That is the Alula Market Sprint. The next sprint is actually on the plateau you have to climb up to on the Vessel Rock Climb. And the Face Rock Climb is right on top of that plateau. And then we drop off that plateau after another climb and go down to the Alula Desert Sprint before then making our way across to that final climb, the Alula Desert Climb. At the moment, though, these riders continue to push on. Was category 3 at the moment. And the last of our riders to leave the pen so far, they're at 4.6 kilometres. The first riders to leave the pen, category 6 on the right-hand side of your screen, they're already at 12 kilometres of the race distance covered. You're leading a group on your screens. You can see the riders' position given by the riders' numbers there. And those positions are not per category. They are riders on the road in totality.
Well, interesting group this. So 9 riders in this leading group. Birdie and Driscoll is the rider off the back, now over a minute back with Jasper Illustra as well. But in this group, Hamilton, Sargent and Solizano are in here. All riders we talked about at the start of the show in terms of making the top 10 last week. So the selection made early on in category 6, they're at the 12.3 kilometre marker. They are going to be the first group of riders and racers today to hit the Vessel Rock climb. That comes at 13.7 kilometres into the race. So in just over 1 kilometre's time.
So these riders make the way over the last little bump before they do their run in to climb segment number 1. Fastest time through each segment, the time that counts. We have our sprint leader in category 6 in with this group in the shape of Jessica Hamilton. We'll give you a roundup of all those riders who've taken away the sprint when we've got all 6 of our categories through. But it is time to head down towards our start because our next category are ready and raring to go. Well, I hope they're raring to go. It's our category 2 riders. They're in the green jerseys. Now, plenty of teams in here. So, CD Racing Team, captained by Anna Caramello. We've got the core squad. Carmen and Giovanni both leading that squad here today. The Purebred Daisies with Jenny Egg leading and Elizabeth Van Heuling and the Velo Valkyrie are going to be leading their teams out on to the course. But this race category is going to be, I think, one of the hardest to call today because of the mix of riders we have in here. We have sprint specialists, we have strong riders, we have rulers, we have got riders who can climb, we've got riders who are good on rolling courses. We've got a bit of everything in here, and this course could suit anybody or everybody on the way through. And I think that's going to make it not just difficult for the riders, but difficult to call the winner. We're in with Liz Van Heuling, setting off from that race start here. That there's, I mean, I could read the whole list, and to be honest, I don't think there would be a rider in there who wouldn't be in with a chance potentially of taking a win on Sunday race.
We've got 27 riders on the start sheets today in category 2. As I mentioned, Sarah Lundin, Dana Davidson and Anna Embring have all come up from category 3 this week. Van Heuling took the win nicely in Belgium. It was a big pack rolling towards that finish, and she just got her timing right in terms of going clear. Donna Wagner took 2nd, Joanna Kalman took 3rd, Lisa Hermansen took 4th, Kelsey J. Van Shaw took 5th, which is a class race field to start with. Then Jenny Eck rode strongly. So did Cornelia Engstrom. Katerina Karamani rode strongly as well. Megan Hyland, welcome Megan to the Sunday Race Club. First race today in category 2.
Excellent.
Joining the Sunday Race Club. Going to be really interesting to see how she goes as well.
Indeed, and I think there's a number of riders in here that I would pick up. People like Serena Vittori, good when it goes uphill, good on really long climbs, but today could suit her. Hermansen's definitely a rider to watch out for. I was impressed by Katerina Karamani. I thought she rode really well because it's not just, for me, it's not just always about results as well, is it? It's also about those riders who keep pushing on, because every rider has good days and bad days. You know, you only need to look at race results in any type of cycling. You have good days and bad days. But the really good riders, they push through and they come out the other side and then continue to get those results. Liz Van Heuling, great rider. We know she's got a good kick on her. We know she's got a good sprint, but she is very, very smart as well with her timing and a real competitor, I think. don't think she knows the meaning of just riding a race.
Oh,
She races a race.
Well, she does. She's also got fabulous strategy, and she really, really is strong in how she executes her races too. For me, we've raced on a version of this course before, albeit a lot longer, 10 kilometres longer. Earlier on through January and February. The one name that keeps jumping out is Joanna Kalman. She's had top fives both times we've been on this course before, the longer version of this course, I should say. Dana Wagner, I think, for me, this is the type of course I think Dana Wagner goes well on.
She's a rider, I think, who excels when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and she's made of tough stuff. And that is very much what I think here. Honey Ainstrom, again, you can't discount her. I mean, we know she's an absolute class rider. Will she be up there in the mix today? We'll have to see. And, of course, Kelsey J. Van Shaw.
Yes, that is very true.
A rider who this course could suit. It's going to be... This is the problem. If you try and predict even a top five, it is. If you try and predict a top five, it's a problem because there's so many class riders. I think for me, this is going to be really key. Who can utilize their skills? Who can race to their strengths here, and yet limit their losses when they're on a weaker section? Because you're going to have it. You're going to be really lucky to not get punished if you have a bad patch today here on this course, because there's so many different riders. There's somebody to take advantage at any point out on the course. I think Sophie Giovanni, class rider all round, but she'll be looking forward, I'm sure, not only to the Vessel Rock climb, the second part of that section over the plateau where you've got the second hill section, which is not included in the climbing section, and then that last climb. If she's in on that last climb, you cannot discount her, that's for certain.
No, well, I agree as well. And they're coming into this rolling section at the moment in Category 2. So on the right-hand side of your screen, they hit the rollers. On the left-hand side, well, it's full screen now. It's the start pen for Category 1.
So our big teams are here. Our Block International, 2 riders representing them, Maria Holcroft and Nelly Larsen. Supernova represented by Amelia Van Hove and Roberta Bersoni. The Sweat Sensations, though, well, they have 3 riders, Amelia Veltz, Catherine Fuhr, and Merle Bruni. Will we see them take victory? Well, they don't have numerical superiority. That goes to the Thundercats. Gabriela Guerra, Kristen Kolczynski, Marlon Bjarhead, and Celine Columbi. They make up just over half of our race field here today, with a number of riders in there who are going to figure, I think, not just in the sprints competition, but in the overall. It includes our world champion, Mary Kate McCarthy of New Zealand, the rider who took victory in the championships back in October. Well, it's time to go racing here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is qualifier number 2 of 4 before we reach our monthly finals on the 30th of March. Will we see another immense performance from Mary Kate McCarthy?
Well, it's a good question, actually. I've already mentioned that we have done the Vessel Rock, that's a mouthful, the Vessel Rock Climb course. That's a good tongue twister. A couple of times already this year, but we have done the longer version, the 47.8 kilometre version, over 10 kilometres taken off of that course today. Now, Gabby Guerra took the race the first time we were on that longer course. Kate McCarthy took the course the second time we were on that course. However, second time out in February, I can tell you just 5 seconds separated the top 5 women in Category 1 on the longer course.
Will it be less? Now, does this being shorter mean we're going to have a close gap?
Well, there is the question. Now, either because it is 10 kilometres shorter, the race field will race harder from earlier, immense we see a bigger gap, or it may well go the other way.
Do you fancy giving us a guide, Gabby? I know you're there out and racing already. It looks like, will we see a bigger time gap, thumbs up, or a smaller time gap, thumbs down?
Let me just tell you, though.
She shouldn't be listening to us. She should be focused totally on the race.
It's a very, very steady start from Category 1. Guerra at the moment in Zone 1. She's recovery riding. Her heart rate at 123 for the first 2 minutes of the racing. This is a nice, rolling, steady state from Category 1. Tiffany Penner. Zone 1. If you're wondering where I'm getting the information from, underneath, on the top right-hand corner of your screen, underneath the profile that you can see, you can also see the zones. And it tells you that the rider we are highlighted with, it tells you what zone they're riding in. So Roberta Bassoni, the rider on our screen at the moment, currently riding at Zone 1, recovery.
It certainly looks like Roberta Bassoni is very comfortable at this pace at the moment, and having that steadier start here today does allow those riders, if they were training hard yesterday, if they've put in a big training block, if they were racing over this period, and remember, of course, there are lots of different disciplines in action, riders riding not just esports, but lots of different disciplines. They're also out and racing today. They might have been racing yesterday, might have been training hard, that training block. By getting that recovery in, it allows you, if the rest of the race feel the same, to get some kilometers in before you press the button, before that race action explodes. It's definitely not the case in, I think, any of the other race categories today. They've gone hard from the gun. But Category 1, that's like my cafe runner the other week.
I can tell you, those Category 1 riders are also going to be thinking about the UCI announcement this week.
Indeed. Oh, this made my week.
Did it?
It did.
The fact that the UCI made an announcement about cycling esports?
No, that happens quite regularly. I've got to
true.
say they do a really, really good job and some really great vision. If you want to hear the thoughts of Jacob Fraser, the UCI's coordinator, you can jump onto the Virtual Velo podcast. Emma asked some really cool questions. Actually, don't let her hear me say that, but she did. She asked some really cool questions on the Virtual Velo podcast. Such as Jacob Fraser, he's the head of the figurehead of the UCI's esports contingent. And I've got to say, what really made me happy was the timing, because in amongst all of the plethora of disciplines that are covered by the UCI, so that is everything from outdoors to indoors, it means that the timing has gone back, and we've gone from the 26th of October to the 15th of November. We have got basically 3 more weeks between now and then. Now, you might say, well, Matt, don't you want it sooner? The answer is no. I actually want it a little bit later in the season, because that gives us even more time to see these riders build. They know now when that's going to be. They know the date. Catherine Fu, a medalist at the World Championships, knowing Catherine as we do, she's going to have a plan. And I would be surprised if she hasn't already sat down and written out where she wants to be, that macro plan, that big plan of, this is my goal. How does my season break down? I know now it's the middle of November. Category 1 riders there, and we've seen lots there.
In your diary.
Yep, 15th of November. It's in a brand new venue, esports specific venue. So whether you're going to be there and watching, or whether you're going to be watching online, or whether you're going to be racing, get the date in your diary. Can't wait to see what happens.
Well, Annalyn Tejeros on our screen at the moment, you can see her out the saddle, really pushing the cadence low at 55. She's on the climb. They're on the Vessel Rock climb at the moment, and this is the leading group in Category 5. And you can see there, 5 riders part and parcel of the group. 1 rider just slightly distanced off the back, so Bago, Alzat, Roa, Lopez, Tejeros. Those are the top 5 riders in Category 5 at the moment.
And it looks to me like they are closing down, if not about to catch the front of Category 6. Now, just need to take a little check. And one of the reasons I say that is because Arias and Flores, 2 very good riders, Veronica Arias and Adriana Flores, already have been caught and passed by this group. Alza at the moment is in 13th position on the road. That means they're starting to close down on the front of the group. So that is our categories at the very front of the race who set off first. We're in with Category 1. The last riders to leave the start pen. Looks like at least 1 rider is distant. In fact, there's more, because there's a rider a lot further back. The dots that you can see on your screen, the tiny little gap between the central dots on that radar view and that singular dot behind, that's the rider in view on your main screen as well. And then further back, there are riders distance even further still. Now, 6 categories underway. All the categories covering the same distance, all of those riders with the same climbing competition, the sprints competition, and of course that overall race finish. The overall race finish is done. First rider across the line wins, second is in second place, third is in third place. All, of course, subject to verification. All the riders going through the Power Passport and the verification on MyWhoosh. If you want all of the details, jump onto mywhoosh.com. Don't forget, whilst you're on there, download the game, the app. You can get it on iOS, on Windows, on Android. Make sure you download and jump on board, get some rides in. Come and join us on Sunday Race Club. We would love to be talking about you when you're racing. And don't forget, of course, whilst you're online, make sure you subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. On there, you can catch up with the exploits of all of our riders, and that's from the Esports World Championships right the way through to Sunday Race Club. And of course, lots of great insights to our riders and chats with riders as well.
Well, I'll tell you something. One of the riders riding really strongly today, Roname Joy Mare, currently about to see the polka dot banner signifying the top of the segment of the Vessel Rock climb. She's got 20 seconds on Hamilton, 24 seconds on the chase group of Sarasu, Sargentson, Holtman and Barco. Fabulous riding from her. In fact, you can see the chase group just in the distance. This is going to be really interesting to see whether she can now stay clear. They descend off of the top of this main part of the climb. They transition along the flat lands through the face rock sprint, and then they climb again before the main descent off of this plateau. So the question is, can Mare stay clear? She's at 18 seconds at the moment.
And that's a substantial gap. We see races won and lost by far less than that. And Roname Joy Mare very quickly back up to pace as well, putting down those watts per kilo, going up to 2.5, very quickly going over the top as the rest of that group just took a little bit more of a breather, a little bit more of a break. And the leaders on the road at the moment, Category 6 riders leading the riders out. And at the moment, still leading clear of Category 5, 4, 3, 2, and the riders on your screen. Category 1 in yellow. These are your leading riders in Category 1, the group containing the world champion Mary Kate McCarthy with the UCI banded white jersey there, making the way in and through. All these riders will know what this course holds in this next few hundred meters, because we're running up towards where the finish is. We've used many times before. It's also the start of the route that we've used previously, as well, as Emma said, already this year. This is a route that's familiar. The competitors know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Now, Category 1 riders, well, they'll have been doing their homework on everybody else as well. They'll know just where they want to go, what they want to do. Can they execute it today? Not so sure. It's going to be tough.
Well, it is going to be tough. And what's interesting is that you can see how much of a steady start Category 1 have had because of the distance between Category 1 and Category 2. So Category 2 at the 9.2 kilometre marker, over 3 kilometres separating these two race fields at the moment. So Dana Wagner, well, I said she was going to be strong in this race today, and she's part and parcel of the pack. But at the 9.3 kilometre marker, Category 2 is looking like they've shed 1 or 2 riders. There we go. We're dropping in with Dana Wagner. You can see her on your screen at the moment. They have just dropped 1 or 2 riders, this pack of Category 2 riders and racers. We said it was going to be a strong group. We said it was going to be a close race. Snova, Van Hooling, Wagner, Eck, Embring, Hermansen, Banerjee, all in this group. Megan Hyland, the new rider we highlighted at the start of the show, in this group as well, with Lundin. Aileen Francisco de Silva in here too. This is a strong group. It's a big group.
It's a big group, plenty of drafts to be had, plenty of places to hide, but the groups behind are not just ones. I think there's at least a duo behind chasing. Meanwhile, Category 1 in and through the sprint. They've just completed their sprint here today, and you can see at the moment that Gabby Guerra has just gone through and taken the sprint win there. So it looks like she's gone through. She's going to just squeeze her way back up to the front. I think a little bit of a move being made on the front here, just a little bit of a squeeze on off the front here. Gallegos just keeping the pressure on, and as they go and come out from that sprint, I think there's been a little bit of a word there to get a move on, and let's get rolling here on the front, because we have distance riders and we can put some serious pressure on here. 1 or 2 riders not in that main mix, most of the riders responding. Looks like Category 1, well, I think the sprint has woken them up. Let's take you through our sprint results. And we'll start with Category 6. Well done to Jessica Hamilton of the Kitty Horse team in Category 6. Category 5 is Angie Arias. Category 4, Veronica Ciasola. We've then got Catherine Montoya in Category 3, Laura Taconis in Category 2, and Category 1, Gabby Guerra's time. Not the fastest time
It's
there.
the slowest time.
Yeah.
It is. In fact, Guerra goes through overall in 22nd place in the overall sprint. The rest of the Category 1 pack, 55th and below.
Wow.
Yes. There you go. That gives you an indication of the steady start from Category 1. But you can also see the fact that this group are pushing on a little bit here, and there's one rider just off the front at the moment. Look at that. It's Elise Gallegos at the moment who's off the front of the pack. Mayer and McCarthy leading the group behind at 4 seconds at the moment. But for the first time, the pace seems to have lifted significantly at the 8.1 kilometre marker. I think we can say the Category 1 race is on.
It certainly is, and with that, it means it's a great place for me to dive out. I'm going to be heading across, I think, to the men's. In fact, I'm not going now. Just yet. I'm going to wait. No, I can't. Look, the action's on. I'm just going to. It's going to have to wait a little bit. Look at this Nicole Mayer trying to come back across this gap here. Fur is responding behind. This is about who responds quick as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just who attacks. It's who is quick to close down. Who's got those legs today? Who is got that response time? Who really wants this? It's intriguing. I can't bear to break away.
Well, I'll tell you something. If you go and start the men's race, when we finish the men's race, I'll let you watch the end of the women's race.
That's very kind.
In the studio.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very. Anyone would think you're in charge of the numbers of faders, not me. Thank you very much, everybody. Make sure you enjoy the rest of this racing, and then come and join us for the men's race very shortly. We're just going to take a quick break whilst I leave the studio. I'll leave you in Emma's more than capable hands.
Yeah. So as Matt leaves the studio, the Category 1 women continue to roll. We've got a group off the back now, but in the mix, Gallegos has been brought back into the group. Holdcroft, the Velt, Mayer, Van Hove, Larson are all neatly tucked into the group. It's still a good-sized group in this Category 1 race as they come up towards the waterfall over the bridge. Gabby Guerra in the mix as well. And you can see the pace come right back off now. So the pace coming off of the Category 1 race. At the head of the race, however, well, we did wonder whether Roname Joy Mayer would be able to hold on to that lead. And the answer at the moment is no. She is just behind in the polka dot skin suit, you can see. But in the green skin suit is the Category 6 rider, Jessica Hamilton. She's in the green skin suit because she is currently the points leader in the sprint competition in Category 6. But the types of climbs here on the Vessel Rock, well, the 2 climbs before the descent, are ideal for sprinters' legs, and we can see what it's done. Hamilton's caught Mayer. Mayer, however, back into the chase group behind, and it's a good-sized chase group, so she is not on her own. There's around 7 riders, so 1 rider now out front in Category 6, 7 riders chasing, and you can see that on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is the lead in Category 5, Bago, Roa, Alzat and Lopez. So 4 riders leading Category 5. They are about 30 seconds back off of the leading group in Category 6 after having started 5 minutes behind them today. So Tijeros is just out of the mix in that Category 5 pack. But take a look at this. They're on the final climb out of the Vessel Rock. And, well, it is all change again because Hamilton, well, she's being brought back. Manon Holtman is doing a phenomenal job here with Jill Sargentson. Fanuch Sarasu is in here as well. Mayer still in the mix. And it now looks like it's these 4 riders who are doing the chase chasing, and they're chasing Hamilton back down. So this group of 4 chasers coming up onto the wheels of Jessica Hamilton. Is this going to stay a group of 5? Oh, can Hamilton hold on or have her legs burn completely? This is going to be very, very close. They are very close to the top of the climb here. Then they'll have a small descent and some transition before the final climb out of the vessel rock itself. So Sargentson comes to the fore, and Holtman, they are riding side by side. Mare is there as well. Jessica Hamilton not able to stay with the pace as Fanucci Korn Sarasu joins the group. She's a strong climber. Hamilton, well, is she going to take a little bit of recovery here and come back strong later? Oh, only time will tell. Well, this is category 4 at the moment, and they're mixed in a little bit here. We've got a category 5 rider in the mix as well. But it's looking like we have got in this group Elos, Pekka Kova, Bergin, Collins, Barragan. Oh, it's changing as they keep rotating through, but we've got a strong group of riders here as they go into the sprint. This is the Face Rock Sprint, and category 4, the leading group go in here. It'll at least give us a clear indication of how many riders are in the group, but it is indeed Sisolka who is pushing on here. Veronica absolutely motoring here through the sprinters, so she's already holding the green skin suit from the earlier sprint, and 11 watts per kilo. That could well be going to Siolska. Because that is a phenomenal effort of a small group of riders at that Face Rock Sprint. In fact, she sets the fastest time through there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders still in that leading group in category 4. Randy Gino putting in a huge push here, not wanting to let the sprint leader to go. But Gino, this isn't just that I'm catching you back. This is I'm going up, and I'm going over the top. Randy Gino putting in a huge dig at the moment. Gino dialing it towards the climb out of the Vessel Rock. Now there's a short, sharp climb, a descent, and then another. And perhaps Gino has identified this as the place to attack this category 4 race. Now, Randy Gino took 5th place in Belgium last week. She's got strong climbing legs and likes the short, sharp climbs. Obviously, obviously, now she's taken the point of the race, and she's decided this is where she goes. So Bergin, Pekka Kova and Elos, the 3 riders on the front of the pack behind. Isabella Giraldo, the category 5 rider, they've just gone past. They're just going past category 6 as well. There you go. We're in with Randy Gino now on our screen. You can see her up and out the saddle in real life on the climb. It's 4.8% at the moment. Angel Hadlock has come to the fore behind. She's the rider now pulling on the climb from the chase group, plus Holly Bergin. But the pace not really on for Bergin at the moment. Rosalina Barragan, however, she is indeed now pulling the squad behind and trying to bring back Randy Gino. But Gino, she's at 9 seconds at the moment. This is a great attack. So Gino putting in a really strong attack in category 4. We drop back in with category 1. And at the 12.6 kilometre marker, they are 1 kilometre exactly away from the polka dot banner. That is the start of the Vessel Rock climb. The pack are rolling. Guerra, Belforth, Penna, Kolczynski, Fua, Larson, Mayer, Guerra, Bjarhead, Bassoni not in the group, Filensky not in the group. Filensky, our absolute sprint queen in category 1, regularly focusing on that sprint competition. She often does indeed drop back off of the race when the pace gets hot to focus on that competition itself. But the rest of this group rolling steadily. So we're in with Kate McCarthy at the moment, the rider in the World Champions jersey. Her heart rate 116 beats per minute, and you can see at the moment she's rolling. As we drop in with Emma Belforth. Great to see Belforth back in the mix. Not been 1 or 2 times she's joined the Sunday Race Club this year. Great to have her back in the mix and back on the bike on the Sunday Race Club. Velt is in the mix too with Kolczynski. And this group just stretching the legs. Well, talking about just stretching the legs, well, who has gone off the front? Well, yeah, I think that is the Rainbow Bands. Kate McCarthy, who's gone off the front. Nicole Mayer now on our screens at the moment. The rider coming to the front of the group. She doesn't want to let Kate McCarthy go. McCarthy's gone before the polka dot banner. She's gone on the run into the climb, stretched her legs out. They've got to close the gap down or they will not see Kate McCarthy again. Nicole Mayer up and out the saddle, pushing on here. Gallegos is there as well. Gallegos putting in a turn at the front. So is Tiffany Penner. Nellie Larson is there as well. The gap at the moment to McCarthy, 4 seconds. The question is, what can Kate McCarthy do? And can she ride clear of this group today? Well, it's a really good question, but Catherine Furr and Gabby Guerra have now decided to take the mantle by the horns. They're pushing on, the two of them, pulling and pushing and pulling this group back together again. McCarthy's gap now down to 3 seconds. She jumps up onto those pedals and dances away again. But Guerra and Furr, they need to work together now. Holdcroft coming up onto the duo. Mayer and Gallegos are there as well. Well, Mayer and Gallegos there as well, but McCarthy now back out to 4 seconds. The group behind have got to work together if they want to close down Kate McCarthy at this point in the race. We're on the stepped climb of the Vessel Rock, and it is indeed stepped, as you can see on the profile on the top right-hand corner of your screen. So McCarthy yet again dancing on the pedals as we're on a short riser before another long flat. Guerra now starting to really dig behind 9 watts per kilo. Catherine Furr matching her. Holdcroft, Kolchinsky and Mayer there as well, but the gaps are starting to open now. Guerra, Furr, 2 riders seeming absolutely intent on closing the gap. Maria Holdcroft now pulls out the sprint paddle because she's pushing down hard on those pedals coming up onto Furr's wheel. Kristen Kolchinsky as well is adamant she wants to be there, and these riders now have got to keep pushing. They've got to keep holding the pace because McCarthy, well, that 4-second gap, it's staying. So the 4-second gap established by Kate McCarthy. It's not going out, but it's not coming back. The Vessel Rock climb, 4.5 kilometres in length. I mean, call it a climb, but it's actually a series of multiple stepped climbs that make up the segment. McCarthy getting respite on the way, but continuing to hold that time trialling pace, sitting steady at around 5 watts per kilo. Mayer now coming to the front of the chasing group, but that group have gone from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. McCarthy now slowly starting to establish the lead. Well, one of the questions will indeed be, can Kate McCarthy hold this gap to the finish? They are at the 15.6 kilometre marker. There's still over 20 kilometres of racing to go. It's a long solo ride effort if she wants to take the win today. It's a big chase at the moment if this group want to close her down. But the group, well, still a good size group. We've got 1 rider dropped off the back. You can see that on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And the pack now starting to stretch again as Guerra and Furr and Kolchinsky look to start to push again. Holdcroft, well, she's on the front of the pack at the moment. Maria Holdcroft's been riding really strongly this year, putting in some fabulous performances. Back in February in Belgium, took 3rd place behind McCarthy and Guerra. Last week, well, took 3rd place in the finals of February as well. Took 4th place last week in Belgium. So a rider really on some great form. Well, another rider on great form in her category, and this is category 5, is Isabel Alzat, who's on the screen at the moment. Elena Lopez and Katie Bago, Angelina Roa. The 4 riders, it's looking like, at the front of this group at the moment. Annalyn Tejeros, the rider getting dropped from the leading group in Category 5. Category 5 leaders, well, they're coming up on to the top 7 on the road. Those are the Category 6 riders who left the start pen 5 minutes before them. In fact, there you go on the right-hand side of your screen. Do you know, Category 6, so interesting. Jessica Hamilton had been in the lead. She was caught by the chase group on the climb. On the descent, however, we did say, was she refreshing her legs and taking a break and some recovery? Because she's come back on the descent and indeed gone through the chase group who caught her 2 seconds ahead of the chase group. Sargentson, Barco, Holtman, Mayer and Sarasuk are part and parcel of that chase group. So Hamilton now yet again leading Category 6 with the chase group behind. 5 riders in that chase group at the moment, ever changing in Category 6. And Jill Sargentson, actually, look at that, strong to the wheel of Hamilton at the bottom of the descent. Now, they're at the 28-kilometre marker. They're coming up towards the Alula Desert Sprint, the final sprint segment of the day. The question is, will Jessica Hamilton contest that sprint? She's in the sprint lead as skin suit at the moment, or will she be looking for an eye to win this race now? Well, 6 riders in contention in Category 6. There we go. Hamilton, whoa, I was going to say winding it up, but Sargentson actually on the back wheel here, running in. Hamilton is indeed winding it up off the front, not even using Sargentson's wheel to get the draft, but Sargentson pushing on now, wanting to make sure that even though she's not contesting the sprint, she is staying with Hamilton. And to do that, she's going to need to go into Zone 5, Zone 6, but a much more managed effort than Hamilton's all-out sprint effort. So the Alula Desert Sprint, Jessica Hamilton comes through there, the quickest in Category 6. Sargentson pushing on, so the gap didn't get too big, but you can see the damage that sprint effort has done. 4 seconds now back, Sargentson is off of Hamilton's wheel. Well, the leaders in Category 5 now coming through exactly the same section as the Category 6 riders we've just watched. 4 riders in the leading group: Katie Bago, Isabel Alzat, Elena Lopez and Angelina Roja. Those riders 35 seconds clear of the chase in Category 5. I think very shortly we're going to see the leading group of Category 5 and the leading group of Category 6 come together. Now, you can see a very different strategy here. Category 5, the leading 4 riders have not contested the sprint. Really interesting. They have just rolled through at the pace that they were racing at that point in time. They have ridden through as though the sprint section is not there. Well, none of the leaders of Category 5 wanting to contend that sprint competition. Isabel Alzat in the polka dot skin suit, currently holding the points in the climbing competition in Category 5, but that leading group of 4, Category 5, rolling strongly. Now, back with some of the other categories. We've not dropped into Category 3 recently, and Jennifer Gothelander took 3rd place in Belgium last week. She's currently in the polka dot skin suit in Category 3, and she is currently leading that competition. So she's ahead of the chase group of Category 3 by 15 seconds. Now, Bridget Kiddle, Ramet are both in that chasing group. Strong riders in the group, and you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, we're in with Jennifer Gothelander, and the group just coming out of the corner as she goes into the next. Now, this is going to be an interesting race here, because this is quite a good-sized chase group. So Kiddle, Lennon, Daniel, Litton, Ramet, Briggs, all in the chase group at the moment. So that is looking like a really strong group. It's also looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I think that's around 7 riders in that chase group. So that is going to be an interesting chase. Eva Esler not far back either. So another rider coming into the mix. And they're picking up category 4 riders along the way as well. They're on the flatlands now, coming towards the Alula desert sprint. And in fact, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, Gothaland going into that sprint segment. So the leader of category 3 goes into the sprint segment. She comes onto the back of Catherine Tompkinson's the category 4 rider's wheel at the moment. So strongly working her way through the category 4 race field, who started ahead of her. That's the distance you can see as we're in with the chase group. It is not far at all. So Lytton, it's 8 seconds. And that is it, the distance here at the moment. So Rama, Lytton, Lenin, Esler, Daniel, as Stephanie Briggs goes for the sprint. So Briggs here choosing to sprint from the chase group. It's going to be interesting to see whether she takes that or not. But Briggs putting in that sprint and putting in a good performance. But let's just take a look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders in that chasing group. Let me just give you a name check. So we have Gothalander out in 1, then Briggs, Lenin, Rammert, Esler, Lytton, Roach, Daniel, and Kiddle are the riders in the chase group. Linda Sarmiento is not far back either. So looking good at the moment. So 10 riders still in contention in the category 3 races. We drop back in with Kate McCarthy and see the damage that she has done on the Vessel Rock climb. Well, she's in the polka dot skin suit. She's got 28 seconds on the chase group behind. And I say chase group, it is indeed a good sized chase group. So Guerra, Mayer, Fua, Holdcroft, Kolchinsky, well, all in that chase group. Gallegos is the rider to be distanced, as well as Amelia Van Hove. So the chase group strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 6 riders in that chase group. So we've got Kate McCarthy out in 1, 6 riders chasing at the moment as they go through the Face Rock sprint. They're on the transition on the top section of the map at the moment here in Alula. They've come up the Vessel Rock climb. They're on the transition over. And you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen, they're about to hit the 2 climbs to come out and off of the plateau. But they've got to go through the Face Rock sprint first. And take a look at this. We've got a push on here from Fua. So Catherine Fua pushing through the sprint at the moment. Guerra in the green skin suit. And Elise Gallegos from behind, choosing to push on. Now, remembering that on sprint number 1, the Alula sprint, the first opening sprint, the Alula market sprint, the riders didn't really push through there. Guerra pushed slightly, picked up the opportunity for the sprint points, and the riders in category 1 really focusing on the overall today, not necessarily the sprint competition. Well, you can see the Face Rock sprint winners at the moment. These are live results, so I'm expecting someone further back in that Category 1 pack picks up the pace. But currently, Kate McCarthy holds the sprint on that segment in Category 1, and a Svanström in Category 2. Catherine Montoya in Category 3. As we also see Gina Van Rossum, Angie Reyes and Jessica Hamilton in categories 4, 5 and 6. Jessica Hamilton still at the front of the race at the moment at the 32.4 kilometre marker. She's leading the Category 6 competition. They came out of the start pen 66 minutes ago. The gap back to Sargentson, Mayer, Holtman, Sarasu, Well, not much at all. 3 seconds separate the top 5 at the moment in category 6. And yes, indeed, you can indeed see the leading 4 in the category 5 race as well, all coming together. So 6 riders in category 6, 4 riders in category 4, all coming together to form the leading group on the road. Category 5 coming out of the start pen 5 minutes behind category 6 have now made the catch to the leaders on the road. The question is, will they now sit in for the next 1.5 kilometers until they hit the final climb of the day? The Alula Desert Climb comes at the 34.4 kilometre marker. It's 2.3 kilometres long, an average gradient of 4.9%, and that checkered flag, well, that is at the top. So on the right-hand side of your screen, category 6 and category 5. On the left-hand side of your screen, the leaders in the category 4 competition. The last time we were in with them, Randy Gino was putting an attack on through the Face Rock sprint section. But it's looking like the group back together again. And we've got a mixed group here as well. So let's take a look. Barragan, Gino, Collins, Bergin, all in this group, but as I say, it is a very mixed and matched group actually. Geneva Elos is in there as well, mixing in with category 5 and category 6 riders as they make the catch and progress along the course. Okay, so talking about progressing along the course, this leading group now progressing into the final climb of the race today. Katie Bago comes to the front of the group. Bago took second place in Belgium last week. So liking those short, sharp or shorter, sharper climbs that we see in Belgium. Now this climb at 2.3 kilometres long, as I said, an average gradient of 4.9%. So may well suit Bago today. Roa, Lopez and Alzat, however, all strong racers. Lopez took third place to Bago's second last week. Category 6, well, it's Mayer and Holtman, Sargentson and Hamilton, who are all trying to stay in the pack. But as the Category 5 pack move through and onto the climb and start to push on, not everybody in that leading group in Category 6 able to stay in. Good to see the leading group. There we go. That is the polka dot banner signifying the start of the Alula Desert Climb, the final climb of the day. It's looking like we've dropped 2 riders from the leading group in category 6. So Sargentson, Holtman and Mayer will go in underneath that banner with the leading group in category 5. So it's looking like 3 riders from category 6 now together alongside the 4 riders from category 5. Now, category 2, really interesting to see as we come back in. We've not been in with category 2 much at all. But this is the leading group. They're at the 27.2 kilometre marker. They are about to come down onto the flatlands through the Alula Desert Sprint. We've got Engstrom, Embring, Karamani, Wagner, Van Hooling, Giovanni is in here. Snova is here. Hermansen is here. This is a strong group. Riders that they have dropped. Van Shaw has been dropped from the group. But this is a closely matched group as they come onto the flatlands. They've got a small section of rollers and then they go into the Alula Desert Climb. I think the climb is going to contend and contest this race. So Markman, Van Shaw and Lundin, the riders dropped from the group now as we drop in with Sophie Giovanni. And you can see her there on the bike, on the setup, just reaching for some hydration. And at the 45-minute marker into this race, she's in the leading group in category 2. Eck is there, Giovanni, Hermansen, Van Hooling, Snova, all in this group. So the riders coming into the sprint segment. The last sprint segment on this Category 2 race. And it's looking to me like nobody in this group is going to... Well, I say that as we see a push on the front, a little bit of a push on the front, a dig on the front, and it's an interesting movement. Alexei Snova just covering the move, 13 watts per kilo. So Snova absolutely dialing it here, moving towards the front of the group. They're going to come up on Gina van Rossum next, Category 4 rider, but Snova quickly coming off the power after she's been through the sprint segment. She put in a good time, actually. So Snova setting a strong time in that competition. Whether it will hold in Category 2 with the rest of the pack coming through is another matter. In Category 2, it was Takanis who took the sprint on Sprint 1 from Svardström. On Sprint 2, Svardström took it from Takanis. So further back down the race route, Anna Svardström and Laura Takanis are having a battle in the sprint competition in Category 2. I am sure we will see when they come through this section that both of those riders really look to make the move. So Rosalina Barragan doing a great ride here in Category 4. She's got Angel Hadlock, Holly Bergin, Kathy Collins not far off the back of the group. They're on the climb now at 35.1 kilometres. The only way now to the finish line is up, and Barragan, Hadlock and Bergin, well, the three riders now look like they will be contending the Category 4 race today. Kathy Collins at 6 seconds now with Hanna Pekakova. She is back there as well, often strong in the sprint competitions, Pekakova. So good to see her part and parcel of this Category 4 race at the moment. But Bergin, Barragan and Hadlock now climbing and climbing strongly, climbing into the top 5 on the road overall today. This is going to be a 3-rider race, and I tell you someone who is not far behind, and that is Jennifer Gothelander, the Swedish rider in Category 3. She's really pushed on now through this race, and I can see, I'm just taking a look actually to see where the next placed Category 3 rider is, where that chase group is at 32 seconds. So 32 seconds back. Last time we were in with them, it was 9 riders in the chasing group in Category 3. And from the look of the screen at the moment, it still looks like a good-sized chase group. But Jennifer Gothelander doing a phenomenal job. She took 3rd place in the competition in Belgium last week with London and Embring. Both ahead of her, taking 1st and 2nd place. Gothelander, we can see on the screen at the moment, you can see the work going in, the fan on full, trying to keep the conditions cool as she climbs and climbs strongly here. She's got less than 2 kilometres to go now in this race, and she really needs to keep this tempo going and keep this tempo strong. 32 seconds, the gap back that she has over the chase group at the moment. The chase group look to be climbing strongly together, but Gothelander now going past Gino and Collins and Pekakova, the riders in the Category 4 race. Well, she's only got 5 riders ahead of her on the road, and they are a mix of Category 4 and Category 5 riders. Gothelander riding really strongly now, and what we're starting to see is the groups coming together at the top of the climb. It's looking like we're going to have multi-category finishes here today. It's going to be a really interesting call on that finish line. On the right-hand side of your screen, there was a bigger wait between the Category 2 race and the Category 3 race. There's a 10-minute gap between those 2 race starts today. So the gap back from the Category 3 leader, Gothelander, at 36 kilometres to the Category 2 head of the race at 31.1. Well, the reason is that 10-minute gap. Now, category 2-pack rolling strongly, but that is it. Gothalander climbing so strongly. She's now gone to the head of the race. So the category 3 rider leading the category 3 race. The Swedish rider Jennifer Gothalander coming to the head of the race. And I tell you something, it is lit the afterburners in the category 4 race behind, because Holly Bergin has tried to go with her. So Bergin seeing an opportunity to break Hadlock and Barragan. Bergin dialing it in that polka dot skin suit, but in category 4, trying to close down the gap to the category 3 leader, utilising as much draft as she can to close that gap down and really to pull away from the competition. The attack now from Bergin, giving her 6 seconds on Hadlock and Barragan, 9 seconds on Kathy Collins. Now, last week, well, it was Bergin who took second, Hadlock took third, and Barragan took fourth place in Belgium. Holly Bergin really wanting top spot today, and she is working for that. We've got a plethora of polka dot skin suits on our screen at the moment. Bergin wearing the category 4-1, Gothalander wearing the category 3-1, McCarthy wearing the category 1-1, still clear of that race field. Now, Bergin and indeed Gothalander coming underneath the banner, signifying the end of the climbing segment, but it is not the end of the climb. The climb keeps climbing. The race distance, 37.2 kilometres. They are 400 metres from the finish, and Bergin is adamant she wants this today. She's pushing on here. She's not got to contend with Gothalander, because Gothalander is indeed in category 3, but Bergin, well, she has committed to the win, and she is driving to the line. Holly Bergin is at the head of the race, the head of the Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier 2 in March. She's going to be the first rider to see the UCI banner. Holly Bergin is pushing towards that line, closely followed by Jennifer Gothalander from Sweden, who is going to take the win in the category 3 race. Holly Bergin comes up to the banner on the Sunday Race Club, your winner today in category 4. She broke away on the final part of the climb today. Bergin takes the win. So Bergin takes the win in category 4. Jennifer Gothalander, we see her come through the line now to take the win in category 3. She's done a phenomenal job to close down everybody on that race field who started before her, other than Holly Bergin in category 4. The chase is on behind in category 3, because this is Jenny, Daniel, Kiddle and Lennon. Kiddle and Lennon battling it out. Rabbit is here as well with Briggs fighting it out here. Sarah Roach has already gone through. That is fast racing. Let's just see if we can take a look at what has happened. Oh, I am battling to get some results on my screen at the moment, but it is looking like Gothalander in 1, Kiddle in 2, Lennon in 3. Isabel Alzat is coming to the line now for category 5. The race finishes are coming thick and fast across the Sunday Race Club at the moment. Alzat is doing a superb job here, but Katie Bago is already under the line. So Katie Bago has taken the win in category 5. Isabel Alzat comes through for second place today. Camilla Zaluga is going to come through for third in category 5. I'm going to draw a breath, and then I'm going to run you through the results of category 3, 4, and 5. So we're sitting in with category 2 on our screens at the moment. This is the leading group. They haven't come to the base of the climb at the moment. Perfect opportunity for us to just have a little look at what has happened already. So Jennifer Gothalander takes the win in category 3 from Bridget Kiddle, Carolina Lennon, Jenny Daniel and Sarah Roach are the top 5. Holly Bergin takes the win in category 4. Rosalina Barragan, Angel Hadlock, Kathy Collins and Hannah Pekakova take the top 5 positions. Katie Bago takes the win in category 5. Isabel Alzat takes second. Camilla Zaluga takes third. Elena Lopez takes fourth. And Angelina Roa takes 5th place. And in the interim period, I can tell you, Roname Joy Mayer has taken the win in Category 6 from Jill Sarginson. Close racing there, looking like around 5 seconds separating the two riders in Category 6. Great racing. So that leaves us Category 6 and... Sorry, let me just say it again. That leaves us Category 1 and Category 2, wrong end of the race field. Category 1 and Category 2 to call in now. And at the 34.5 kilometre marker, the Category 2 race field have hit the base of the climb. Wagner, Van Hooling, Embring, Snova, Eck, all in there. Hermansen is in the mix as well. So is Sophie Giovanni, who is going to climb strongly today. Giovanni and Dana Wagner at the front of the group. Anna Embring covering the moves as well. This is going to be an interesting finale to the Category 2 race. These riders strong enough to climb this together. That's one of the things that I think is really interesting here. Just seeing one of the riders getting dropped towards the back here, just having a little look at Katerina Karamani, not on the group, I don't think. So Engstrom, Van Hooling, Eck, Hermansen, Wagner and Giovanni. Snova is in here as well. Strong riding, strong racing at the 34.9 kilometre marker on the right-hand side of your screen. Just 600 metres behind them, 700 metres behind them, Kate McCarthy on the left-hand side of your screen. She can now see the banner, the polka dot banner signifying the start of the final climb today. Her gap over Gabby Guerra, 33 seconds. So a 33-second gap in Category 1. And you can see no yellow jerseys in sight because Kate McCarthy wears the polka dot skin suit. Gabby Guerra wears the green skin suit. So Guerra indeed taking the sprint competition in Category 1. The polka dot competition at the moment in the hands of Kate McCarthy. Guerra, well, it's a 50-second gap back to Holdcroft and Fua. So interesting here. McCarthy, a 30-second gap back to Guerra. Guerra, nearly a minute back to the chasing group in Category 1. So the two riders, Guerra and McCarthy, riding clear of the rest of the Category 1 race field. But McCarthy staying clear of Guerra at the moment. They're on the final climb. The question for me here is who has the legs and who can maintain and stay the distance here today on the Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier 2. Guerra 30 seconds back from McCarthy. 2.5 kilometres of climbing to go until they see the UCI banner and the end of the race. A little bit further ahead of them is the leading group in Category 2. 5 riders at the moment locked in battle on the slopes of the Alula Desert Climb. The rider in the polka dot skin suit is Liz Van Hooling. But she's got company. She's got company because Hermansen, Giovanni, Engstrom and Snova are all still with her at the moment. One of the steeper sections at the moment of the desert climb here in Alula. On the left-hand side of your screen, those riders in the Category 2 race. On the right-hand side of your screen, she's slowly reeling them back in, is Kate McCarthy. She goes past Anna Svardström in the Category 2 sprint skin suit. She's climbing her way up the mountain. She's around 550 metres back at the moment. Dana Wagner needing to push on and not get gap from the group in Category 2. McCarthy continuing to dance on those pedals, continuing to work her way up the climb. So really good to see now the Category 2 race on the left-hand side of your screen, the Category 1 race on the right-hand side of the screen. These two races now playing out. The last 2 races left on the course for Qualifier 2 in March. 4 qualifiers in March. It's a long month, 5 Sundays before that final. There is still time to join the Sunday Race Club and get 2 qualification races under your belt and qualify for the final in March. You need to get moving. Entries will open after the race, and they close on Thursday morning. So do check on the MyWhoosh.com website where those entries are for the Sunday Race Club. But it is not too late to join for March and make a qualification for the final. Now, Alexi Snova is absolutely motoring here on the left-hand side of your screen. She wants a place in the final, but she also wants top spot today in category 2. So Snova now pushing on, but the rest of the group are coming. They are not out of this race yet. So Snova at 2 seconds, but it's Lisa Hermansen pushing down, bringing Snova back in, leading the charge from the chase group. Giovanni, Engstrom and Hulling all within 1 second now. So Snova is going to be the first rider to see the polka dot banner, but the push is on from Hermansen. Hermansen is desperate to close this down. She knows there is not long to go. There's 500 meters left of the race once they are underneath the banner, and it's Snova and Hermansen now with a 3-second gap back down to the rest of the group. Hermansen picks up the mantle from Snova, but Snova does not back off the pace. Sophie Giovanni now pushing on, and Cornelia Engstrom from behind. The question is, have they left this too late now to challenge Snova or Hermansen? Giovanni, Engstrom and Van Hooling have got to pick this up now because the banner is coming. Van Hooling is dialing this now, but has she left this? She got her timing right. She comes running onto the back of Lisa Hermansen and Alexi Snova. She's going to come up and overpass Snova. What can Snova do? What can Snova do? Absolutely nothing at the moment as Liz Van Hooling comes straight up over the top. She put the attack in Belgium last week and took top spot in category 2. She's timed her attack to perfection here in Alula, and she takes top spot in category 2 again. Alexi Snova comes through for 2nd place. Lisa Hermansen is going to take 3rd. Cornelia Engstrom through for 4th place today. And I think we're going to see Sophie Giovanni take 5th in that category 2 race. Well, the category 2 race now done as we head back in with Kate McCarthy. Those rainbow bands replaced by the polka dot skin suit. She's going to be the first category 1 rider to see that UCI banner. She's broke away on the Vessel rock climb. In fact, the attack came on the flatland run-in with about 500 or 600 meters to go before the climb started. The attack timed to perfection. The pack tried to go. They made some effort to move, but they never closed her down. She has soloed away for a time trial win over 20 kilometres out front today for Kate McCarthy on the Sunday Race Club. She timed it to perfection. She is over 30 seconds clear of Gabby Guerra in 2nd place today. Kate McCarthy, your world champion in the polka dot skin suit, comes underneath the banner. She takes the win in category 1 today. So Kate McCarthy takes the win. Gabby Guerra in the green skin suit of the sprint competition. So she has wrapped up that sprint competition today as well. She's going to come through for 2nd place today in the category 1 race. Riding clear of the chase group by over a minute. So Guerra coming through for 2nd place behind Kate McCarthy in 1st today. Well, Maria Holdcroft has put in a phenomenal final climb. She was with Fua and Kulczynski coming into the base of the Alula Desert climb. We've been saying over the last few weeks, Holdcroft's form is absolutely fantastic at the moment, and really good to see her climbing so strongly. She's eyes up. There's the banner. That's the finish line today. Maria Holdcroft will come through for 3rd place today in Alula. Qualifier 2 on the Sunday Race Club in March. So Holdcroft comes through for third place today. The battle is on behind for fourth and fifth, and it's Kulczynski and Fua who are battling it out for that position. They are side by side at the moment. Catherine Fua goes over the top of Kristen Kulczynski. Fua kicks. Can Kulczynski respond? No, she's not going to. Catherine Fua, I think, is going to take fourth today. Kristen Kulczynski will take fifth. Fabulous to see the riders racing today and coming through the line. So Kristen Kulczynski takes fifth place in that Category 1 race today. Really, really strong racing in the end. The gap in the end between McCarthy and Guerra, 25 seconds. There we go. The overall standings from the race up ahead of us. So Kate McCarthy taking the win. 58 minutes, 51 seconds on the course today. Gabby Guerra in 2, 25 seconds back. Then over a minute back to Maria Holdcroft in third. Catherine Fua in fourth. Kristen Kulczynski in fifth place today. The results are live at the moment with more of the riders and racers coming across the line. If you want to head to mywhoosh.com/results, you will indeed see those results come through as they happen. Liz Van Hooling took the win in Category 2. Alexi Snova took second place. Lisa Hermansen took third. Cornelia Engstrom took fourth, and Sophie Giovanni took fifth. And I can tell you Nicole Meyer has just come through for sixth place in the Category 1 race. Well, it has been absolutely fabulous racing today here for qualifier 2 of the MyWhoosh Sunday race. And Matt Payne was indeed with me earlier. He opened the show. He's subsequently gone off to open the men's show. Myself, Emma Martin, I will be joining him shortly for the culmination of that men's race today. If you have enjoyed the women's race and you want to see what happens in the men's today, now is the time to head over and take a look. Well, it's been brilliant to bring you all of the action. Until next week, qualifier race number 3 of March. Stay safe, enjoy your riding. We'll see you then. Goodbye.